The day started like any other, except for one crucial detail. A small puppy barely more than a few months old was abandoned on the outskirts of town. He was left for dead. His thin body trembled as the harsh winds of winter whipped through his matted fur. His ribs were visible, his little body weak and fragile, and his eyes were clouded with fear and pain. In his last moments, the puppy had no idea who had abandoned him, but he knew one thing: he was alone. His cardboard box, torn and soaked by the relentless rain, offered little protection against the cold. There was no shelter, no warmth, no hope. This tiny, defenseless creature had been left to perish in the unforgiving streets. But that's not how his story was destined to end. Just a few blocks away, Sarah, a woman in her early 30s, was driving down the road when she spotted something unusual. As she slowed to a stop, her heart skipped a beat. There, in the alleyway, was the sickly little puppy, alone and shivering in the rain. She couldn't explain why, but the sight of him filled her with an overwhelming sense of urgency. Without hesitation, she pulled over, got out of her car, and walked towards the alley. The puppy, his ears flat against his head, looked up with wide, fearful eyes. Sarah crouched down, speaking softly, trying to calm him. "Hey there, little one," she whispered, "it's okay. You're safe now." The puppy hesitated for a moment before slowly inching closer, as if sensing that Sarah meant no harm. She reached out a hand, and after a few seconds, the puppy took a tentative step toward her. With great care, Sarah scooped him up in her arms. He was so light, so frail. She could feel his body trembling, not just from the cold but from a deep fear he had likely never known. The moment Sarah held the puppy, she knew her life was about to change. She couldn't leave him there to die. She couldn't let him suffer. She wrapped him in her coat, comforting him as best as she could. The puppy's breathing slowed as he felt the warmth of her embrace, and for the first time, he felt the tiniest flicker of safety. Sarah took the puppy straight to the veterinarian, where he was examined thoroughly. The vet told her that the pup was severely malnourished and had a few wounds from trying to survive on the streets. But despite everything, the vet was optimistic. "He's a fighter," the vet said with a small smile. "With the right care, he'll pull through." As the days passed, Sarah devoted herself to caring for the tiny puppy. She named him Rex. His condition gradually improved under her tender care. She fed him nutritious meals, kept him warm, and showered him with affection. But there was more to Rex's transformation than just the physical healing. Over time, Sarah noticed something remarkable. Rex's spirit had begun to change too. The once terrified puppy who had been on the brink of death now showed signs of a growing confidence and a deep loyalty towards Sarah. He was learning to trust again. By the time Rex had fully recovered, he had become a vibrant and energetic dog. His coat had grown thick and shiny, and his once thin frame had filled out with muscle. But what stood out most was his intelligence. Rex was quick to learn, and his instincts were remarkable. Sarah started teaching him simple commands, and he picked them up almost instantly. One day, while walking through the park, Sarah and Rex encountered a police officer walking his dog, a German shepherd named Duke. Sarah struck up a conversation with the officer, and they talked about Rex's remarkable recovery. The officer, impressed by the dog's intelligence and responsiveness, suggested that Sarah look into training Rex as a police dog. "You know, with his instincts and training, he could make a great working dog," the officer said, his eyes narrowing thoughtfully. At first, Sarah wasn't sure. Rex had only just become a healthy, happy dog, and the idea of him working as a police dog seemed a world away from the fragile, abandoned pup she had saved. But the more she thought about it, the more it made sense. Rex had the drive, the energy, and, most importantly, the heart. After a lot of consideration, Sarah made the decision to reach out to a local police department. She wasn't sure if Rex was ready for such a role, but she knew she had to at least give it a shot. After all, Rex had already proven that he could overcome the odds. Maybe he was meant for something bigger. The police department was more than willing to take Rex in for training. They recognized his potential and agreed to provide him with the specialized training needed to become a police dog. But it wouldn't be easy. Rex would have to learn everything, from tracking criminals to detecting drugs and explosives to navigating the complexities of police operations. It would be a long and grueling process, but Rex was ready. The first few weeks of training were tough. Rex struggled with some of the exercises, and Sarah worried whether she had made the right choice. But then, something extraordinary happened. One day during a routine training exercise, Rex did something that amazed everyone. The task was to track a suspect who had hidden in a dense forest, but the area was tricky with false trails and distractions. Most dogs would have become confused, but not Rex. He stayed focused, his nose to the ground, and without hesitation he led the trainer straight to the suspect's hiding spot. It was clear now, Rex had a gift. His instincts were uncanny, and his ability to focus under pressure was unmatched. Over the next few months, Rex became an exceptional police dog, excelling in every area of his training. He was quick, intelligent, and brave, everything a police dog needed to be. And soon Rex was out in the field, working alongside Sarah, now a police officer herself. The bond between them was undeniable, forged not only by the experiences they had shared but by a deep mutual respect. Rex was no longer the weak, abandoned puppy. He had become a hero, a protector of the people, a symbol of resilience. One night, after a successful operation, Sarah received a call about a dangerous criminal on the loose. The suspect had been involved in a string of robberies and had escaped into a nearby forest. The situation was dire, time was running out, and the criminal was heavily armed. Sarah, along with Rex, was called in to assist. As Sarah and Rex navigated the dense forest, the air was thick with tension. Rex's nose was working overtime, his senses heightened. He moved confidently, his focus unwavering. After hours of tracking, Rex suddenly froze. He had caught the scent of the criminal. With Sarah at his side, Rex led the way, weaving through the trees and underbrush. Finally they came upon a small clearing. There, crouched behind a fallen log, was the criminal, his gun raised. Before the man could react, Rex sprang into action, tackling him to the ground with lightning speed. The criminal struggled, but Rex held firm, using his training to subdue him. Sarah quickly cuffed the suspect, her heart racing as she looked down at Rex. He had just saved her life and potentially the lives of others. He had gone from being the puppy left to die on the streets to a hero who had put his life on the line to protect others. Rex's bravery didn't stop there. Over the years, he went on to become one of the department's most trusted and celebrated canine officers. He helped solve countless cases, from drug busts to missing person searches to apprehending dangerous criminals. He was known not only for his incredible skills but for his unwavering loyalty to Sarah and his fellow officers. But the true impact of Rex's journey wasn't just in the cases he solved or the criminals he apprehended. His story became a beacon of hope for everyone who heard it. A puppy, abandoned and left for dead, had risen from the ashes to become a hero, a reminder that no matter how hopeless a situation might seem, there is always a chance for redemption, for transformation, and for greatness. Rex's story spread far and wide, inspiring countless people to believe in second chances and the power of perseverance. Sarah, too, was forever changed. She had saved a life once, and in return Rex had saved hers countless times over. Together they had built a legacy of courage, loyalty, and love. But for Sarah and Rex, the journey was far from over. They had only just begun.